Silicon Valley engineers did not design modern social media platforms to entertain the masses. They designed them as highly classified, invisible extraction mechanisms specifically engineered to mathematically bankrupt the modern internet entrepreneur. The global attention economy is currently shifting violently, and the incredibly narrow window of opportunity to build actual, untouchable digital equity is closing permanently this year as algorithms become entirely saturated by artificial intelligence. If you close this video and ignore this clinical reality today, you will voluntarily spend the rest of your life operating as a highly stressed, entirely unpaid biological battery for massive tech monopolies, violently losing your finite capital to an algorithmic illusion. Global tech elite desperately hide the mathematical architecture of this trap to ensure you remain a highly profitable, perfectly obedient digital slave who constantly buys status. But if you stay here, you will learn the exact, undeniable psychological mechanism of why fake internet wealth guarantees permanent poverty, and you will master the elite exit protocol to build invisible sovereignty before the hustle culture matrix drains your future completely. Modern society has been deeply and systematically conditioned by a highly engineered digital landscape to believe that extreme visibility automatically equals massive profitability. The average individual looks at an online creator who possesses hundreds of thousands of followers, flies first class, and broadcasts a perfectly curated aesthetic of absolute luxury, and automatically assumes that this person is secretly incredibly wealthy. This is the single most dangerous, devastating psychological hallucination of the modern digital era. Broadcasting a high-status lifestyle online does absolutely nothing but increase the speed and the violent volume of paper currency flowing out of your personal bank account. If you do not possess the cold, calculating financial literacy required to separate digital vanity from actual commercial leverage, your desperate pursuit of internet fame actually accelerates your permanent financial destruction. You are actively participating in what clinical economists and behavioral psychologists refer to as silent digital bankruptcy. These individuals look incredibly powerful to their massive online audiences. They project absolute, unshakable authority in their heavily edited videos, but their actual liquid net worth is completely negative. True sovereign wealth is absolutely never measured by how many strangers validate your existence on a glowing screen through double taps and superficial comments. It is strictly mathematically measured by how long you could comfortably and safely survive if the algorithm completely shadow-banned your account and erased your digital identity today. For the vast majority of digital nomads who are heavily faking their success, that survival timeline is terrifyingly short. Usually, it is less than 14 days. This massive psychological blind spot is compounding aggressively against you every single time you open an application on your phone. Social media algorithms actively hide this exact mathematical truth to keep you mindlessly performing. Ignore this next biological reality and become entirely financially obsolete today. The algorithm's dopamine trap. Let us clinically examine the brutal, undeniable reality of the modern social media ecosystem and how it hijacks your nervous system. The fatal flaw of the internet entrepreneur is that they mathematically confuse their digital audience metrics with their actual, tangible net worth. Because your smartphone notifications are constantly exploding with likes, shares, and comments, your primitive brain genuinely registers this virtual engagement as real-world tribal power. When you log into your creator dashboard and see a massive spike in your algorithmic reach, your fragile ego instantly inflates. You genuinely believe that this massive digital attention is real leverage, and that the platforms respect your status as a business owner. This is absolute, undeniable psychological insanity. You have built a massive, incredibly heavy, sophisticated digital lifestyle using entirely synthetic algorithmic leverage. Silicon Valley engineers explicitly designed these platforms based on Harvard psychologist B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning experiments. They transformed your glowing smartphone into a highly advanced, beautifully designed Skinner box. When you post a picture of an expensive luxury watch or a rented private jet, the algorithm delays the engagement slightly, and then floods your brain with a massive, unpredictable spike of cheap dopamine. You are being biologically trained exactly like a laboratory rat to associate spending real, hard-earned money on fake status with the immediate, intoxicating reward of social validation. You own absolutely zero real equity in this transaction. You do not own the algorithm, you do not own the massive server infrastructure, and you do not even own your audience. The platform can legally revoke your access to your followers in a fraction of a second without any explanation. You are essentially renting a highly sophisticated, incredibly stressful digital lifestyle from massive global tech corporations. Think about the extreme fragility of your existence. If the platform fundamentally changes its content distribution algorithm tomorrow morning, your prestigious high follower count would mean absolutely nothing. But the massive fixed debts you accumulated to maintain your synthetic millionaire image would instantly crush you. Why hustle culture is a scam. We must ruthlessly expose the deeply toxic, highly profitable industry known as hustle culture. Hustle culture is not about building actual wealth or genuine financial freedom. It is a meticulously designed marketing funnel created exclusively to extract capital from desperate, insecure young adults. System actively encourages the ambitious youth to adopt the absolute worst financial philosophy in existence. Fake it until you make it. They tell you to buy the incredibly expensive mastermind ticket you cannot afford, rent the exotic European sports car for the weekend, and hire the professional videographer to film you walking confidently out of a private jet terminal. They mathematically and logically justify this highly toxic behavior to you by claiming that you are simply manifesting your success and investing in your personal brand. You do not realize that your extreme desperation to look successful is a perfectly calculated variable in the system's design. Fake it until you make it. Philosophy is simply the hedonic treadmill weaponized directly against your entrepreneurial ambitions. As your desire for digital status increases, your biological threshold for financial risk rises in exact, immediate parallel. You start viewing premium, incredibly expensive lifestyle props as absolute baseline necessities for your business survival. The exact moment you generate a small amount of legitimate revenue from your online business, it is instantly absorbed by a newly financed liability, simply to prove to your completely unknown followers that you are succeeding. Hustle culture ensures that you must continue working your exhausting, highly visible 14-hour days just to service the massive, suffocating overhead of your own fabricated image. You are running a digital marathon at an absolute sprint pace on a platform that you do not even own. You are operating as a highly paid, beautifully dressed, unpaid marketing asset for the luxury brands you constantly promote, but you capture absolutely zero of the underlying equity. Pay extreme attention right now. What we are about to expose is the single most devastating, entirely legalized wealth extraction mechanism in the global tech economy. If you do not restructure your digital presence immediately after hearing this, you are volunteering for permanent financial slaughter, monetizing your need for validation. The absolute darkest secret of the modern internet matrix, a heavily guarded secret that social media executives and digital marketing gurus will never publicly admit, is that the fake internet entrepreneur is the single most violently monetized entity in the entire digital economy. You genuinely believe that your high-status posts elevate you to the upper class, but to the global financial system and the massive tech monopolies, you are nothing but raw, highly predictable, beautifully dressed livestock. Truly wealthy elite, the software architects, the platform founders, and the institutional tech investors operate in a completely different, entirely invisible parallel universe. They build the digital infrastructure, they aggressively collect your massive data sets, and they sell your hyper-targeted psychological profiles to massive advertising agencies for billions of dollars. They do not care about looking rich on the internet, because they are too busy quietly buying the massive physical servers that host your desperate, exhausting cries for attention. You, on the other hand, operate directly in the center of the algorithmic slaughterhouse. As a fake internet entrepreneur, you generate massive, undeniable engagement and screen time for the platform. But before that attention ever translates into real, liquid capital in your personal bank account, the tech monopoly violently extracts the value. You spend thousands of dollars trying to go viral, effectively paying the platform out of your own pocket to distribute your ego. You have absolutely zero distribution leverage. The truly terrifying part is that the harder you try to look wealthy, the more aggressively you are penalized. A highly viral video showcasing your rented mansion does not bring you closer to true freedom. It simply pushes you deeper into a psychological trap where your audience demands even higher, more expensive levels of luxury in the next video just to stay entertained. You are heavily subsidizing the tech elite who actually understand the rules of the mathematical game. Until you shift your focus from active, highly visible digital performance into passive, invisible back-end equity, your entire internet presence is just a highly efficient, involuntary donation to Silicon Valley. Rented lifestyle illusion. Why do highly intelligent, incredibly capable, ambitious young professionals willingly participate in this destructive, endless cycle of digital performance? Because your primitive ego is biologically terrified of being invisible. Silicon Valley engineers and elite corporate behavioral psychologists understand human evolutionary biology significantly better than you understand yourself. In ancient human history, when we lived in small, brutal environments, being perceived as low status or being completely ignored by the tribe meant you were denied vital resources, rejected by the group, and left to die in the brutal winter. Your modern brain still carries this exact same biological terror of social irrelevance. It is deeply hardwired into your fundamental DNA. You buy massively overpriced designer clothing, you lease premium European vehicles, and you dine at highly exclusive restaurants strictly to document the experience online. You are desperately trying to build a synthetic psychological shield. You are using borrowed institutional money to hide your deep, primal insecurities from thousands of absolute strangers whom you will never even meet. You desperately want the digital world to look at your curated pixels and automatically assume you have absolute, unquestionable authority. But true, unshakable authority cannot be purchased with a plastic ring light and a high-interest credit card. The actual digital elite completely reject this pathetic, highly transparent performance. They gladly embrace the temporary discomfort of looking completely average or even entirely anonymous to the untrained public eye. Truly wealthy digital architects happily operate massive, faceless businesses, write complex code in absolute silence, and live in highly efficient, modest locations while rapidly acquiring massive, invisible equity in the background. They gladly absorb the brutal, ignorant judgment of broke influencers because they deeply understand that massive, automated daily cash flow and sovereign ownership of intellectual property are the absolute only metrics that actually matter in the real world. The algorithm actively monetizes your arrogance. Every single time you finance a lifestyle you cannot afford simply to impress followers, you pay the tech monopolies a massive premium to soothe your fragile ego. You are voluntarily funding their generational empires because you are biologically too weak to be invisible. The system is perfectly designed to keep you blind, exhausted, and hopelessly addicted until it is far too late to recover your capital. The final protocol I am about to reveal is the exact architecture the top 1% uses to escape the digital matrix. Execute this today, or remain a heavily financed algorithmic slave forever. Framework to build invisible equity. You must aggressively and violently shatter this delusional, heavily financed digital illusion today. You must embrace the brutal, cold, mathematical reality of your exact financial situation and instantly admit to yourself that despite your impressive follower count, despite your verified checkmark, you are secretly, mathematically broke. Confess your massive, destructive, ego-driven sins to yourself in the mirror right now. The absolute only way to escape the hustle culture poverty trap is to completely murder your pathetic need for external algorithmic validation. You must aggressively lower your visible digital status today to instantly skyrocket your actual invisible wealth tomorrow. Break the suffocating, heavy chains of the algorithmic Skinner box immediately. Stop increasing your lifestyle and renting expensive digital props every single time you have a mildly profitable month in your business. Force yourself to live exactly like you did before you ever opened a social media account, and violently deploy every single saved dollar into cash-flowing digital assets, private business equity, and tax-advantaged commercial real estate. Build a massive, impenetrable fortress of financial friction around your bank account. Stop relying on your highly fragile, completely algorithm-dependent attention, and focus entirely on acquiring massive leverage and generational back-end ownership. The global tech elite actively suppress this exact psychological truth because they desperately need you to remain a highly stressed, perfectly compliant content creator, completely addicted to synthetic status. They need you to stay exactly where you are in the slaughterhouse to generate their advertising revenue. Subscribe right now to quickly join the elite sovereign minority and master the 1% money mindset today. Stop blindly playing the rigged game they designed perfectly to extract your energy and your future. Master your mind entirely before the algorithm destroys your future. Build your massive fortress of absolute sovereign financial power today. See you in the next elite financial protocol.